Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for a very special Spanning the Need episode. Tonight we'll be talking about, as most people say, the most magical place on earth. And who else to talk about that is Chris and Danelle. How are you guys?
Fine.
Good,
How
healthy,
are you?
so that's good.
Yeah, that's. I think during this quarantine, it's been everyone's kind of been condensed in their house, not doing much. We know Disney closed down at just middle to the end of March.
Yeah, middle of March, yeah.
And I know we had reservations to go down there, and ours got canceled, so we're looking at something in the future. But at the same time, there's a lot changing right now in Disney. And we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later, but I know people are kind of interested. It says, hey, we have two individuals here that work for Disney in different capacities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So who wants to start on how they got started at that level?
This is all her fault. So
Yeah, so I actually got started by auditioning in Chicago. They actually were having a performer audition, so that's for like parades and shows and that. And I went to the audition at a ballet studio in Chicago, and 11 hours later, I was offered the job and asked to move down. So the process is pretty intense, but really cool experience all at the same time. So they kind of just have you all line up. You get to learn a dance combination from some of the very best, I guess we call them maintenance choreographers, but they're pretty much just show directors and people that create all sorts of choreographers. So choreography for most people. They teach you a number, a combination. You do it a couple times, practice a couple times. They bring in the casting folks, they watch you, and then they decide from that point on if they want you to continue on, move forward, or if they are good to go and say thank you, but it's time to go. I was fortunate enough to stay long enough for them to want to see maybe not just my dancing, but to see what my animation was like. So if I'm able to tell a story just through my physicality and my facials, if I'm able to tell a story with that, because sometimes when you're dancing along a parade route, you can't just stop and talk to people. So they need to see that you got to be able to do all that other stuff. So I did that, and we had about 300 people at my audition. And at the end, I think there was about 20 left. And we were asked and offered to come and move down from Chicago to Florida. So that's kind of how it was for me.
So you're originally from Chicago.
Yes.
So and from what I'm getting is that's a very intense auditions.
Yes. Yeah. 11 hours. It's pretty intense in some aspects. So they're very sweet, very, very nice as you're going through it.
Okay.
But a lot of it is standing there, them just looking at you. They want to see that you have some kind of personality, obviously. Also, they're not necessarily looking for perfection. So yes, some of the dancers in that they want to be so spot on. And we call them the equity folks that get those jobs. But for the people that perform in the parades and the shows and stuff, sometimes they're looking for just raw talent too. So you don't need to feel like you have to be super polished. It's intense, but you can still enjoy it. You can still have fun. If they can see you're having fun and you're able to exude that upon others, then that's what they're really looking for. So.
Okay.
And then you brought him down with you.
I did.
Oh, I had to.
So his experience was a little different since it wasn't in Chicago. So
Yeah, mine. We came down here and in 2006, and my experience was actually auditioning at Disney, and so it's something similar to what she went through, what Danelle went through, but something way different than I've ever gone through as an actor. I've been an actor since I was 2 years old, film, television, commercials, print, all that sort of stuff. And so I'm used to being able to do things multiple times or get into characters where you have to really make yourself up, whether it's makeup or something like that. And this was different. And I've done theater. I get the whole one-shot live audience and get that reaction, and I love that. And so to me, Disney and this audition was kind of the combination of both of those worlds, where you get the perfection of the biggest entertainment company in the world with the live audience right there, so you kind of have to know what you're doing. And so I went through a whole animation thing and dance movement, I guess is what it's called, and passed the movement enough because I am not a dancer.
I have no rhythm. You can ask my wife.
I can mimic things. I can do a jazz square. I can do things if you show it to me a few times. The animation I had a lot of fun with. It was more of mime type animation. So they wanted to see how real you could bring things to life. And so my audition was actually only about 2 hours down here. And they hold auditions. Well, they did. We still haven't got confirmation as to what's going to happen now that we're in the world that we're in.
And we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later.
Yeah. And so they used
talk
to
a little bit about the pandemic and how Disney will reopen. And we'll go with that.
And they used to hold auditions every Thursday. And so I went. I did not pass the first time to get a full-time job. I was offered a part-time job in attractions, and I did that for about a month. And then they gave me the call saying, "Hey, we want to take you into some parades and shows over at Magic Kingdom." So
now, what's it like to be in those types of parades? I've been to Disney World. I was there a couple of years ago, but just to be, what does it take to these parades? There's a lot of moving parts. Yes. There's a lot of, when do you guys get to train? You just don't get on the float and go. And I don't think people realize that.
1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It's really, it is complex and it is very intricate. And I would say my first description to answer your question would be exhausting because you do have to learn whatever your role is for each specific show, parade, or whatever it may be. And then you have to be able to have the stamina to do it, not only for 27 minutes on a parade route, if it's a parade from gate to gate, but you have to do it in Florida in July and August. And the costumes are not light. So some of them can be, but at the same time, it's a workout. That's how I treated it. I treat it as an actor workout.
Yeah, it's you've got to build your stamina, and we'll get into a little bit about I think that later on with people returning now and getting back into the swing of things. But it takes a lot. But the cool thing is pretty much everybody that's there gets hyped up right before, and you almost you're dying of heat. You may be panting as they're out there trying to catch your breath. But you're on a high almost, where you're just enjoying seeing everybody super excited to see you, and it's a cool rush almost feeling. But it does take a lot of work, and the only time usually that Disney is closed, except for the last couple months, is at night. So that is when we train for a lot of things with across all of the parks. Is just at night till usually from 10 p.m. till
6 a.m.
6 a.m. So
and in that park of massive size, you're talking 3 to 4 parks. So you got probably 3 or 4 different, maybe 2 or 3 parades depending on what park you're at, and then just the massive of cleaning up after patrons have been there. So you guys are kind of in there with all the lights on, and no one's there. It's an abandoned place.
We actually just talked about this today, where some of our friends have slowly started going back for different things. And so they've started posting pictures about, the castle has been upgraded, facelifted a little bit. And so they've been taking pictures and stuff, but the park is empty except for the cast members. And so it brings back the memories of the first couple times you go to rehearsal and you see that, it's creepy. It's just kind of like you're walking by things that are turned off, the water fountain. Yeah. Whereas once you get used to it, and I was there for 10 years, and I had a rehearsal every year for multiple reasons, for different new shows, different roles, that sort of thing. And you kind of it's kind of peaceful. It's kind of cool to look at the castle and take it in, where you're not worried about the heat of the sun or people pushing, by, or that sort of thing. So.
Well, and I think it brings up the point is I guess it's a well-oiled machine then when you look at that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely takes scheduling, and it definitely takes the coordination of each department, each section to choreograph. It is all just a choreographed, it's entertainment. So not only do you have choreographed movement and routines, but you have a choreographed schedule for costuming and who else is going to be here. And of course, they do work overnight as well. So how do you get a parade rehearsal throughout the park when they're trying to put up Halloween decorations or Christmas decorations?
Or
So
just cleaning the park, like you said. It's a lot of working with them too.
Well, and that kind of falls into my next question is, what's it like to work at Disney? I mean, you have parades, you're in 90-degree, 100-degree Florida weather, could be dancing, could be performing, could be on the floats. So what are kind of your personal, how do you enjoy Disney? I would assume you do it because you've been doing it for so long. So what are some of the good things that you really guys enjoy at Disney?
I'll go first because technically I am no longer performing at Disney. So my experience before I left was you're fueled by that magic. And so for me, I think each person has to find something that you are there for. And it could be as temporary as you're there to fulfill a collegiate program, or you're there to just have your first job, or you grew up in Florida and you're supposed to work at Disney. Or those that bring out the actual artists and performers and movers and dancers and people who want to build on that skill. And so for me, I was fueled by that magic of bringing the smiles, and you can't satisfy everybody. You'll have some grumpy people, you'll have some tired and hot kids, but you push through and you find a different part of yourself while performing, because I've been on stages before, but it's inside air-conditioned theaters. I've been on TV before under hot lights, but it's nothing like the heat of Florida sun. Mm-hmm. So you find those little moments so that you can, because it is so unique. There are other theme parks in the area and they do a wonderful job at what they do, but they're built and themed for different age groups and different styles. And so Disney sets itself apart because it is rooted in fairy tale and magic, whereas other parks have, spells and sea creatures and all that sort of stuff. So I enjoyed having the experience of being a part of parades and shows that were iconic in a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah, it's just really cool because yes, it is a company. It's there and it makes money and all that type of stuff. You also have the cast is awesome. They're there because they love what they get to do every day and make magic for tons of people. Even make magic for other cast members too.
Family.
And family. And we really are like family, I'd say. We both say that since we moved down here, we've created the second family, and they're just cast members. They're people that we've met along the way that have trials and tribulations as well, but we all are there to lift each other up, try to help each other out. Because we're working weird hours. Oh, yeah. We're maybe getting 3-4 hours of sleep and then back up to do a regular shift after just doing training for overnights. And it's just really cool. I think it's the cast members and the family that you get to make there that really is an awesome thing. And it's awesome to be around other people that have so much talent, and not just the talent that we see that you see when they're out there performing, but other things that they have too, other things that artistry and musicians that maybe aren't doing the musical aspect of things, but are just incredible. And it just really inspires you to keep going.
And how many years have you been there?
Ooh, I've been there since 2006.
Four more than me.
Yeah.
That's when 2006 is when she brought you down?
Yes. Yeah, we got married in Chicago, and we were high school sweethearts. We got married in Chicago in 2004, and we came down here in 2006 together. And I left in 2016. Yeah.
Yeah, and you keep doing it because you love what you do.
Oh yeah. And I'm technically too old for a lot of the performings and stuff that are out there, and that's fine, because guess what? Now I get to do a full circle and help those that are coming in that wanna do their best. Yeah. And it's really cool.
And actually, someone just commented, this is a Goofy mug. So just so you're aware, they're like, what they go that, yeah. So this is a Goofy mug.
Goofy mug.
Who have you guys worked with Goofy?
We have. There's quite a few characters that are, fun to spend time with, and whether that's, with the meet and greet aspects or shows and parades and that sort of thing, because it's such a different experience with each different type of character and then each different experience.
Yeah.
So, and everybody, I mean, most people I'm sure have been to, you know, the parks or something like that, and you just have either your favorite, or even if they're not your favorite, you still have that magic of watching people meet a character for the first time, or little kids, even to the extreme of like Make-A-Wish is a big corporation, non-for-profit that comes into the park all the time. And so to have these kids that are, whatever their situations are, they're not good. And to have them smile or speak for the first time just because Goofy gave him a look, just because Tigger patted him on the head or he pulled Tigger's tail. I mean, that's something that you can't get anywhere else. I could do TV shows and movies until I'm blue and have fans and followers and you love it and win awards. That's great. But that's a different kind of appreciation and gratitude than working in the parks and having that one-on-one contact.
And I have to ask this question because this wouldn't be me, but who's the better one, Goofy or Mickey? I'm biased because so you don't have. I won't put you on the spot, but I'm biased, so you don't worry about answering that question. I just had to throw that out there. They're all good. They're all good.
It's easy to compare because they're both black and white for the most part, and it depends if you like dogs or mice.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Don't worry, you don't have to answer. I'm a little biased, and I think anyone, the people I talk to, or the pictures you may see, is Disney is what children dream about. The Cinderellas, the Frozen, the biggest Cinderellas that they have, and I think that has one. Oh, and my wife who loves.
There's the visitor.
I have to go with the Disney princesses on that one.
Oh yeah. So
hey guys,
How's it going, Lauren?
how are you?
This is my wife, Lauren. She loves the Disney princesses. I'm a Goofy fan.
Yeah.
But I love the Cinderella princesses as well because my wife is one.
It's a good contrasting connection there. Like us.
Exactly. And I can only imagine what it is to work with these characters and really and just when the kids work with them and just really make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's so cool. And sometimes you get swept away too when you're listening to them, and like for the princesses, let's say, you're listening to them talking to these kids and the stories that they have about their lives and everything, and you kind of get swept into it of, okay, yeah, I have faith and dreams. Yeah. Oh, this is possible. It's hard not to be positive when you listen.
And someone actually made a comment and they said, don't forget the Disney villains.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
And
We got to give them props.
And I've got to admit, they almost get more props than some of the standard characters, and I think it's cool not only whether you have your favorite character or genre of character or anything like that, but I love the fact that kind of like the times we're living in, I've noticed with my personal friends like out in LA and some musicians I know and stuff. You've watched, we're big fans of Evanescence, and they've done home shows, and other people that we know have done created shows from their house. So it brings them more to their own public and fans. And no matter if you were the biggest celebrity or the smallest kid for the first time in the park, they all melt no matter what character that they're seeing. And so I think, exactly. Yeah. And so I think that's very unique with Disney itself. Not many people do that with Harry Potter. I'm not knocking Harry Potter. But you can get Michael J. Fox standing next to an everyday little kid, and they're both going to be wide-eyed because they're meeting Goofy or Mickey or Cinderella or something. So that's very unique.
And I think the big picture about it is, I forget, but it's like adults, like you were saying, adults will melt with their kids and keep going back. My cousins go every year. There's about 30 of them. They all go. It's either every year or every other year. They really enjoy it because it is the most magical place on the earth.
Yeah.
And when Walt Disney if I recommend anyone to watch Walt Disney's biography on PBS, talks about how Disney got started, how Disney became in Florida. I recommend it. It's phenomenal. And I'm a Disney fan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of people are, but there's some really people
Yeah.
that are really Disney.
Oh yeah, I mean those that come into the parks like
Every day.
and they every day
Every
they have. There's a guy and I don't even know what he's up to. Last I saw, it was over 12 or 1,300 times he's been on Haunted Mansion, and
Oh,
he has
wow.
a tattoo on his. And he looks like this big. Like you would not think this guy even thinks about Disney. He is stereotypical. I'm stereotyping here real quick. Biker. I mean, he's got the long gray beard, the leather hat, and everything. But nope, he has the Haunted Mansion logo tattooed on his arm. He's at the time, a couple years ago, he was at 1,300 something times that he's been on the ride to the park. And so, yeah, it's so cool that it spans ages. It really does. It's generic, but they have something for everyone, you know?
Yeah.
And then he may be a big guy, but he's got a little kid inside.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, he just melts.
Absolutely.
Gets giddy and everything.
Yeah,
It's like
Exactly. Now let's talk about some behind the scenes.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
What can you tell us some things behind the scenes that people may not know? Like, what can I do behind the scenes that we just don't know, that not many people know?
I think if we start out with the things that they may know, and then we can build into something cool. I think it has been broken out, the fact that there are tunnels under the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Now, that was said incorrectly because there's not technically tunnels under the Magic Kingdom. The Magic Kingdom is actually built up.
That is correct.
It is not underground. The tunnels are at ground level.
Disney's built in a swamp location, so
We don't have a basement. We're here we live right behind the Magic Kingdom and no basements, man. I hate it. I miss my man caves.
under.
Yeah, so the tunnels are real, and they are for just so that you don't have to see the things that you don't want to see. The whole purpose of being at the park is to be out of reality.
Yeah.
So when you meet characters and that sort of thing, they don't reference what's happening. Cinderella doesn't know what a cell phone is, doesn't know what a car is. Mickey Mouse doesn't care what the headlines are for newspapers or what's on TV. We're taking you out of that. And so the utilidors, the tunnels, were built to bring things that you don't want to see, the garbage being taken out, that sort of stuff, and to get cast members from park to park. If you don't know, it's like a spoke on a wheel of different lands: Fantasyland, Frontierland, Liberty, Tomorrowland, all that sort of stuff. So the rule, I guess, is, here's your piece of inside information, is you're not supposed to see a Frontierland cowboy walking through Fantasyland, because that's not land to live in. So if he has to get to Fantasyland to do whatever he needs to do as an employee, how do you do that? So they have the tunnels.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thought, because you would think that where is everyone? Where is everyone when you first go? And you don't realize that the tunnel, Disney was built on top of tunnels.
Yep.
And an additional 50 feet above, and everything was built because of the swamp.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what else can you tell us? There's a rumor going around that you can actually go in those tunnels and get a tour. Is that true?
It is true. You can. You can definitely get a tour of it, and they'll take you into some parts so that if you really want to have the know about certain things, you can. It goes more into the history of Walt and how they built things, so you get to see some of the structural aspects of it and the plans that they had when they were creating it, which is really neat. And then they take you into some areas of where cast members are, so that you can see how it is. The biggest thing with any of that is to understand that the utilidor is really for function, right? It's to get to and from and everything like that. So it's not as frilly and beautiful, but it is functional and very cool still. It's still very awesome. And it's still definitely worth it if you wanted to take a tour to learn some stuff about Disney, like the castle. There's not one single brick or piece of stone making that castle. And I don't think a lot of people know that. Yeah.
What else can you tell me about the castle?
Oh, well, I don't know how many people know about the castle suite that's inside of there.
Ooh, can I stay there?
He's never heard about the castle suite. Doesn't want to stay in it at all.
I fortunately was lucky enough to see it quite often. It's beautiful. It's made with all sorts of beautiful finishings and that. And it used to be for, which was really neat, for a year of a million dreams, where people would actually be chosen. They'd see them just walking around, and they would choose them to be able to stay the evening in the suite, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah.
Has like 2 beds in there, a beautiful hot tub, some other lovely things in there too. Right now it's not for sale, like you can't rent it out, my understanding is, and right now it's not really utilized very much, but maybe someday it'll be being utilized again soon. So,
And it was kind of cool because the time that they were doing the Year of a Million Dreams and would pick a random average Joe guest, a celebrity could have stayed in the night before, type of thing where, and it was with different perks where you got to stay in the park, but you also didn't see any of the magic. So you didn't have to worry about being bothered by the construction or if they were cleaning at night. It's all soundproofed and the windows are in directions where you can't see things.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
You'd always have a guest relations person ready to go whenever you needed something or wanted something. So it's really cool.
So we're curious. We're actually curious as to what they're going to do with it now because it's still there. They're not going to get rid of it, I don't think. But I don't know what they're going to utilize, especially once things get back to whatever normal is going to be.
There's a glass slipper up there. I can tell you that much.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, there is.
Don't tell my wife that. She may go after it.
I know.
It's beautiful. Oh, and the craftsmanship to make the mosaic tile floor, even in like the elevator, is really, really cool. So.
And actually behind the castle too, which is another behind the scenes, it's out in the open, but there's a Cinderella statue that sits behind the castle itself as you go into Fantasyland. And most people don't know this is the fact that as an adult, you look at the Cinderella statue, it's beautiful. She's in her kind of rags. She's doing her cleaning of the floor and just sitting by the fountain type of thing. If you are a child of a certain height and you look up at the statue, she actually transforms from that perspective into what looks like a dress, and she's wearing a crown.
Really?
So that's some of the deep thoughts, and a lot of people go for the hidden Mickeys. There's a whole book on where the hidden.
I heard about that. I when I was down there, I looked for them, but maybe I was either really hot looking for the water and tried to look for them. So explain a little bit about that.
It's a game that Imagineers accidentally started, I guess.
Accidentally.
And then an inside game with themselves. Then it became a public game because then you have the bloggers and the writers and everything. Now it's a huge thing. And there's actually, I think we're on the 8th or 9th edition of a book that you can buy that tells you where they are. So now it takes the fun out of just looking. But now when you're on a ride, sometimes you actually have to be like looking up and you can't hang out of the ride, but you have to really turn around as you go around a corner and catch something or, I can see it. So the hidden Mickeys are a thing, but did you know there's a hidden Donald?
There is?
In the Haunted Mansion. I'm not going to tell you guys where because that kind of, it'll ruin the fun, but there's a hidden Donald. So try to picture and imagine that. And it's one of those things that you can only catch as you're moving past it to put 3 different items in that room together that make the hidden Donald. But it's documented, it is official. It's the only one.
Interesting. Now, I did hear, and that I think it actually made the news, and it kind of struck me that there's an abandoned island somewhere.
There's an abandoned water park.
Oh,
yeah, there's an abandoned water park.
Yeah.
The island is actually still there. It's what you pass if you jump on the boat going from the Transportation and Ticket Center to Magic Kingdom. You pass by Bay Island. And so that is still there, and there's parts of it was an attraction at one point, but not really. It was kind of like a Tom Sawyer's. If you've ever been there, it's like a Tom Sawyer's Island type of thing where you could have gone and looked by it as you went by on the boat. But the water park itself is completely a full-fledged, Typhoon Lagoon type of water park that is just still there.
Wow.
I don't even know if I know why it's still there. If they haven't done anything with it.
No, I think there are future plans for some of the new resorts and everything to kind of take over some of that real estate. But I think for safety, they come up with better options for them and creating because because it was a water park pretty much. And so I think they were able to create Typhoon Lagoon and stuff that's super duper safe, making sure the guests would be completely safe compared to like something that was just in a lake. So
Right. Country River was its name. So if anybody wants to look it up and see the actual pictures of what the overgrown moss and stuff on a water slide looks like. That's
Interesting stuff that I would never know. I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, I think one of the coolest things for me, and I found this out years ago, but it's still probably one of the coolest things is, so every day, you know, they have flags throughout the park, right?
Yeah.
Actual flags. There's a flagpole as you walk into the Magic Kingdom at 2:50 every day. When the parade was at 3:00, they have the big ceremony where they'll give the flag to a veteran that they found in the park or a family that maybe lost a family member and they found out somehow through the hotel or something like that. And they do a great ceremony to give the actual American flag off of the flagpole. Now, that's the only flag in the park and at Disney. Every other flag-shaped thing is a banner. And there are American flag banners. Now, the reason that makes a difference is those banners that are on top of the train station, the ones that are at MGM or Epcot, they don't have to come down. They don't have to put them at half-mast because they are all missing a star.
Which they don't have to follow the proper procedures for United States of America flags.
So they are banners. They're not actual flags.
Interesting. Little interesting stuff. I will ask this question because I was told this, and I don't know if it's true, that cast members are not allowed to say, I don't know. And they can't point like this.
Correct. We have so many people from all sorts of different cultures coming to visit with us. And in some cultures, pointing with just one finger is considered very rude. So that's where we came up with the 2-point fingers. And that's what you're going to see a lot of cast members do. That's what we learn. It's kind of embedded into us now so that even on days off, that's if I'm showing somebody something, that's what I do. And it's just so that we're not offending anybody that's coming from a culture where pointing right at someone would be considered rude.
And that's kind of the politically correct way of saying it, because it was a Walt point. Because if you know anything about Walt Disney, he smoked. And so every time he would point with his cigarette, that's what he was doing. We need to have this over here. So that's kind of where that came from. And it became politically correct.
Get two sides of it.
Yeah.
And as far as the I don't know, we're told from the get-go, from traditions and everything, which is like our very first class that you take when you first are welcomed into being a cast member at Disney, is that we are always going to try to find the answer for our guests. We are always wanting to help them. We're not going to just settle it with an I don't know, which is funny because I know I grew up with I don't know was not an answer. Yeah. So it just kind of fell to be like, okay,
now you got a good job.
Now that's part of my job too, to always find somebody, even if I don't know, to make sure that I find somebody that can assist and help whomever and whatever question they have, that they could best answer it. So.
Well, and that actually, it's like the point of like when your 12-year-old or my 3-year-old nephew earlier says, I know everything. Okay. Works for me.
Yeah.
And half the time the guests already know what they're asking. And so it's kind of like you really have to know or find out because they may just be questioning you or asking to, double check. So.
Yeah.
And these are some really good behind the scenes that, I mean, people may know, may not know. So it will be just a nice educational tool for people listening. And we appreciate the insight behind the scenes that not many people may know.
Yeah, and it depends on what kind of, a lot of people too, it depends on the vacation or the time here that you want to spend. If you're older in years and you just want to do an adult type Disney trip, there's things for that. If you want to go to the parks to experience classic things, then do, Magic Kingdom and Epcot. If you want, more teen type stuff, then it's the studios. If you want to not ride things, but you don't want to be bored, then finding hidden Mickeys, finding hidden Donalds, picking up the phone in the hat shop, which there's a phone in the hat shop on Main Street. You can listen to an actual conversation from the 1930s and 40s.
I heard about that. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's in the back as you go towards the hot dog. It connects to Casey's.
Yeah, and there's actually a mailbox I just was thinking of this. There's a mailbox on Main Street that you can
It's real.
actually put mail in there. They can't guarantee when it'll actually be emptied out to be sent out, but it will get mailed.
And it will get stamped Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Really? So
Yes.
you could mail yourself a postcard and have that tradition on it that not many people will have.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, I appreciate for the insight. That's some good information from behind the scenes. Now, let's talk about the real big thing we have at TAS. What should people expect when the theme parks reopen? What are some of the things that you guys are hearing? Yeah. What are some of the things that you guys are hearing that's going to be done by Disney to make sure? I think right now they said July 11th was some of the hotels, and then the 15th was the parks opening up at a specific capacity.
Yes.
So what could you tell me that to help people understand what they need to prepare for when they come down there?
Oh, good one.
Prepare for anything.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is probably patience, because everybody's going to be excited to be there, whether it's to work there or to visit. And so things are slowly actually soft opening a little bit tomorrow with like pass holders or cast members and stuff. And kind of like what Universal did, where they opened up like 1 or 2 days in a row just to test it, make sure they have enough cleaning materials.
And they started today too.
Oh, yeah.
We had 4 cast members to come with family if they wanted to. And they were saying that they're doing such a good job. Big thing, yes, patience. Expect that you will need to wear a mask. It's going to be hot, so cotton masks is always a plus, but safety is always the first priority. And if we can't guarantee that the safety of everybody or get close to it, then it's not going to work. So they're taking that very seriously. Masks are required. They have hand sanitizer stations everywhere throughout the park, is what the friends of mine that have gone today say. They're like, you turn around and there's another hand sanitizer for you to utilize. So please utilize that stuff.
Oh, Helena.
Oh,
Helena's talking about Magic Music Days.
Hi. We have, let's see, other things. There's going to still be tons of characters, the people, the ones that you love out there. It's just going to be different. We're not going to have and be able to, at least in this time period, to have the hugs and cuddles, or probably even the autograph books. It doesn't seem like autograph books are going to be a thing. So you may want to just not even worry about them.
Put them away to save them for later, because they're going to be worth money later.
But you still are going to have the opportunity. They're trying so hard to figure out ways to still have you at least have the chance to see our friends out there, have a chance to see a lot of the characters out there, still have a chance to dance along with some of the music and some of those fun shows. It's just a different type of show, but it's still they're trying their hardest to find new ways in which you can still enjoy your time there. So biggest thing, patience, understand they're trying hard not to create things where you're going to have lots of clusters of people and groups of people. So being mindful of whatever time you have for going to a ride, trying to be as timely as possible to that, so there isn't a big cluster of people.
And be aware too that it is per reservations on a more business and set side. You do have to make reservations for the parks, not just the hotels. You have to sign up to go to one park. You won't be able to park hop, as what they say. So you say, I want to go to the Magic Kingdom. That's where you're going for the day. So if you say Epcot, that's where you're going for the day. So that's a little different. And I think it's going to be a retraining of the guests. It's definitely a retraining of the cast members. But it's something that, I think it's going to help everybody, maybe, I hope, appreciate things even more. Everybody that's been like, oh my gosh, I need vacation, has gotten a vacation, unfortunately, and now gets to go back to work. And there's that reignited pixie dust, as we say, and they're ready to work and give that service, that Disney magic. And the people that are coming are ready to relax and escape the world that we're in right now. And so, they'll have as much as that they can give. Yeah.
Do. Yeah.
So they're gonna. So if you're saying that there won't be no more hopping from one park to another
right now.
For right now.
Yeah, I think everything that I've read so far is pretty much through the end of the year. They're going to go through. They're going to do what they can, see how things progress. Gosh forbid that things don't get worse, and they can remain open and everything. Then through the rest of the year, it's going to be reservations, limited capacity. As they can open things more, they will. Same thing with cast members. Not everybody's going back right now, so you don't have as many cast members to serve you. So that's also where patients will come in, where not every restaurant's going to be open. You won't be able to self-serve like out in the real world yourself soda and that sort of thing. So,
and I think it's important for whomever to know that they're taking what they learned from Shanghai. Another reason why it's pushed back compared to some of the other parks that opened up a little earlier is they're really taking the safety precautions into play. So they're sitting down with all cast members and social distance scenarios to teach them proper ways to make sure everything's cleansed properly after everybody gets off a ride and all that type of stuff. They're making sure that a cast member, before they even enter backstage to come in for the job for the day, is temperature, making sure they don't have a fever. If they're taking it seriously, if somebody says, I'm not starting to feel so well, okay, then you go.
You can go home.
Go home, rest. We'll call you in 14 days.
Yes, exactly. They're providing cast members with the essential PPE, personal protection equipment as well, to make sure that they are not spreading anything if there should be somebody that unfortunately ends up being asymptomatic but still has stuff. Their expectation of wearing masks backstage too, and making sure that they're not touching a lot of the communal stuff that we would normally touch, so there's less spread of if there would be anything. But there are also just tons of new cleaning procedures and everything. So they're trying their darndest to make sure everybody's safe.
And you get to show off your cool Disney mask that you can make or buy or whatever the case.
And I can guarantee you there'll be plenty of those Disney masks that they'll buy. I'm just promoting Goofy.
Just turn that into a mask. That's all you need.
Yeah, here you go.
Exactly.
It's
perfect.
I doubt this will be a little heavy when 90-degree weather comes.
Yeah,
it's true.
We talk about what the cast members are doing and some of what's going to be some of the people that are attending. What about special events? A lot of these people go to these parks for special events. So how are they treating special events? The fireworks, the parades, how are they dealing with that, and what's going to happen?
The unfun answer is they're paying attention to the state and the different phases of reopening of Florida. The more polite type fun answer is the fact that they're doing some special things that those that will be in the park will be able to see that you've never seen before. But anything that will, like Danelle said, cluster people together or group people together are not going to happen. Again, my thing is that I've read on a couple of very reliable sources is through the end of the year, definitely through the fall, because they have officially technically canceled Halloween. Mickey's Not So Scary. Halloween itself is not canceled. Please don't like Halloween. But Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween parties at the Magic Kingdom are officially not going to happen. They haven't gotten into Christmas yet. They're going to have to think about it because this is the time where you would be in rehearsals for Christmas soon. There's some more behind the scenes, but yeah. So I think they're paying attention to the state, and their fireworks aren't going to happen. The Food and Wine Festival is being right now postponed. I haven't heard an official no, but we know some people that have gone to it or been in it and that sort of thing, and they're like, I don't think it's happening, so they're not sure. So anything that would gather guests and not keep them moving is kind of nixed right now.
Anything that they don't think they have time to prepare and make sure that it's safety. So they're going to try to keep adding things as much as they possibly can, because they want that too. They want to be able to provide something more for the guests whenever possible. But for safety purposes, the fireworks, the normal parades and shows where you're sitting around waiting for a half hour, 45 minutes for something to start, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be more pop-up stuff. So yeah, just be prepared. Like maybe it's more of just going without full expectations of certain things and just
Be
enjoying
surprised,
it.
yeah.
I think that's going to be a better way to and be able to enjoy it.
And there's definitely the people we've talked to that have gone back or been in rehearsals. There's definitely enough. So it's not like you're going to miss. You know, if you miss the 3 o'clock parade, which I know it's not 3 o'clock anymore, it changed to something else. But if you miss the 3 o'clock parade, you miss it. Whereas now they're doing multiple things in different parts with different things and characters and everything else. Where I really don't think you can miss something. You know, you will be entertained even if you're not in line for your favorite ride.
Yeah, but for the time being, those specialty things are on hold until they know they can do it safely and have that available to you guys.
And I would expect that Disney is a first class institution, that it will do things the right way. I mean, you go to like the fireworks show, the laser show on the castle, and the new techno over at Epcot. Anything, I mean, round the world. I like round the world.
Oh yeah, me too.
Go to Italy. I'm sold.
Yay! Germany's good for me.
Yeah, closest I can get.
Yeah, exactly.
But I appreciate you guys taking time. You got a couple minutes for a little Q&A?
Yeah, sure.
Sure,
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, this first one, I'll pop it up on your screen. Let me clear out a couple things here. So this one comes from a girl named Katie. And so her question is what is your best memory working at Disney?
Oh, that's a hard one. Do you have one off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, it's hard to answer because I have like multiples. It's like asking me what my favorite movie is. It depends if I'm in my comedy mood or best actor, or if I just wanted to escape reality. I would say generically, I was performing in parades, and I had the best time with like the improv. You had choreography and things you had to do, but finding that little kid that wasn't paying attention, and you didn't scare them because you don't scare them, but you surprised them to make them smile and be like, holy cow, you know, you stopped as a pirate, you stopped and said hi, you let me touch the flag, or you know, you gave me a flag if we were handing something out. Specifically, I love the story of Sleeping Beauty, and I love the fact that the different characters that came out of that movie into the new parade. And so you get to see Maleficent as an actual fire-breathing dragon.
Cool.
And so it's generic, but taking something that's on paper or an idea or a movie and actually bringing it to life is probably the coolest thing of memory that I can, you know, express, I guess, you know?
I guess, this is hard. I got a tie on this one, but I was attending Cinderella in her castle, and it was great and everything. There happened to be a family reunion happening, and so you got the kiddos, and then you even had Grandma in her wheelchair, but she didn't want to be in the wheelchair for the picture with Cinderella. So they got her up, helped her up, got her next to Cinderella, and I just see her turn to Cinderella and said, I waited 30 years to meet you. And it was just like, oh, okay, all right. So we do this for more than just the kiddos. It's the kiddos at heart. So that
had to be great working with Cinderella and having that happen.
Oh yeah, she's cool. She's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
It's like the little girl. Remember that commercial from back in like the early 90s where that little girl runs down and sees Mickey miraculously standing by himself in front of the castle in the park. And she's like, I waited my whole life to meet you. That's what I think of.
She goes, I think, if I remember this, she goes from a 12-year-old to like, she was like 85 years old.
Right, yeah.
That was the right commercial. No one in the park. It's just a commercial.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But that's the magic.
Yeah, that's the magic. I wish I could go back and I'll be 18 years old again.
Yeah.
Start at one side of the park and end at the other.
Yeah.
It does keep you young working there too, because everybody that comes in obviously is younger, and they got faster dances and choreography that they're teaching you, and you're like, okay, I gotta keep up. All right. Like I said, that's what I said. It's an actor's workout when I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question, Kim.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Now, this question we might have already answered, but I'll ask it anyway. This question's from Trisha.
Trisha, okay.
And will Disney cancel all shows that have a crowd and will not be able to social distancing?
Yeah, I think
Our
right now,
understanding.
and cancel is such a harsh word, right? I think it's just postpone, because Canceling kind of means a finite end, whereas they're not getting rid of, they're just revamping. And as we speak, 2, 3, 4 weeks could go by, a month could go by, and they'll come up with something that will be more than what they're going to open with this weekend now, the 11th. And it may be better than what you have in mind for fireworks or something else, so.
But trust me, they are waiting on go. There's so many people that want to get back to all of that, so many cast members. So as soon as they say we can do it safely, we will. But right now, that
can't
stuff
stifle the creativity there.
Yeah. Did we answer? Hopefully we answered.
I hope she gets the answer. I mean, it's going to take. I mean, right now we're still in the first wave of the corona. So I'm going to pop another one up.
Yeah.
So this one is from Stacy.
Okay.
So I'm gonna assume this one's probably a younger girl, like maybe around under 16, 17, maybe just could be. Let's just say it could be any age.
Okay. Sounds like a young girl. Yeah.
Will I be able to meet the princess?
Oh,
it depends on which one.
That's a good question, and I think
the idea of a formal meet and greet, like that you might have seen, might have done in the past, whether you're young or old, it is not going to happen yet.
No.
So it won't be a formal hug and picture and that sort of thing.
But what I have been told is the princesses are super excited to meet everybody, or see everybody, I should say, not meet everybody. So they are going to be out and about doing things so they can still wave and say hi to people, but it won't be their typical way of hugging and meeting, greeting that way. But they are going to be out and about, so you can still wave and say hi to folks.
Yeah.
And say hi to the princesses.
That was a good question. I'm assuming that this one would love to meet a princess. Maybe you can help her meet a princess one day.
Maybe.
Be happy to.
Yeah. I don't have any more questions. I think that was the 3 or 4 I got. A couple of them we already answered, and we got a couple of comments back. So I appreciate you guys taking the time.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
A pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. It was a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to talk about little things behind the scenes and what people may not know about Disney and just taking the time out of your busy schedule. I can only imagine what you guys are going through right now to prepare to open back up.
It's nuts. And like I said, even though I'm not there anymore, it's more on the production and TV type side where it's a new world. I've been doing a lot of this, which I've had to get used to, seeing myself as I'm myself, on Zoom calls and Skype castings and non-in-person auditions and stuff. So,
If anybody out there plans on going to the park, please say hi. If they see me, they'll probably see this. But
Yeah, she'll be right next. She'll be helping Cinderella and some of the other princesses. And if you see Goofy, anyone, tell them I said hi.
Yeah, absolutely. Next time you see me, I won't have as much beard or face or hair. It's crazy.
Hey, there is nothing wrong with that. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us for another episode of Spanning the Need podcast. Stay tuned tomorrow night. We'll talk to author David Lee Morgan, who did the autobiography on LeBron James and Coach Jim Tressel. So be safe and have a blessed day, everyone.
Thanks, Tony.